Hello, everyone. I'm Angela Watson Robertson, and welcome to Masters of Reinvention, your ultimate guide to changing your life. I am so glad that you're here. Each month on this show, I'll interview a master in the art of reinventing your life to help inspire you and empower you to live your best life. Today, I have Master of Reinvention, Dianne Bischoff James, with me to discuss her book, The Real Brass Ring, and share her experience with transforming her life. So, Dianne, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I am so happy to be here today.
Yay, I'm so glad to have you. So first, let me say, I absolutely loved your book. There were so many stories I could relate to, and your transformation and courage, especially the courage to go through everything you went through, is really inspiring. Yeah, so maybe if somebody is having a hard time answering questions like, what should I do? Who am I? It may be that they just haven't really ever asked that before. Maybe they haven't taken the time to process what that question means.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I feel like intuitively, we probably all have the information. I know we do. We all have it. We're all phenomenally wise. And our supreme self, the higher part of ourself, really knows the answers to those questions. Mm-hmm. And then we have this wonderful guidance system, which is our body and our emotions. And that guidance system is giving us feedback constantly. So when some of it's really simple. When it feels good, it is good. And so I try to help people get back to doing I found some world-class techniques, help people get really clear on their vision, answer that question, what they came here to do, using a lot of like some guided meditation, but also doing kind of touching in with a lot of intuition and also using outside resources and lots of books, tools. There's tons of techniques and clarifying that vision. Because I think that's what I find. A lot of people have the first issue or the roadblock is clarity. So once they get clear, life becomes a lot easier. And then the second step is you really have to look at that pool of lessons because this is the workout place. The things that we're doing well and come easy really aren't in the lesson camp. Mm-hmm. That's in the gift camp. So in the lesson camp, there's usually three main categories I find that people have lessons in. One is about the area of self-love. And are they truly able to put themselves first and find that inner yumminess, the part that you're like, gosh, it's such a gift to be here. And I'm so happy that I can do what I can and have these relationships. Then the third piece or second piece is about finding this sense of safety and security. Will the universe support me? Am I going to be okay? Are we going to, or I always say, are we going to end up on the street? I had that one for a long time as one of my lessons and had to understand that there's trust involved in that and a lot of really deep, heavy lessons about your relationship with the world, about the universe, about your spirit, about guides that are here to help you. And then the other one is about, the third camp is about how people have joined together to create these tribes. And I think one of our biggest fears, we're going to get kicked out of the tribe. Yes. What happens if I actually say, no, I don't want to do that. That doesn't work for me. And people are afraid or terrified that someone's going to say, fine, you're out of the family, you're out of the relationship, you're out of the school, whatever it might be. So all of those are some of the key camps where I think this authenticity and the truth of finding your own real brass ring kind of emerges. And those are the types of lessons that I think that if we do a little bit of insight and sit quietly, that very often we know the answers ourselves. And then we can use each other as support and reinforcement to make sure that we have all that clarity.
Okay, great. So it sounds like there's almost this, evolution of going from the clarity to then being, embodying that clarity and then moving forward. Do you see when you work with clients that there's a trend where sometimes people get stuck in trying to get clarity, or maybe they sometimes get stuck in the trying to believe, or maybe having doubts? I know that, in my own personal life and in my work life and working with people, it seems like getting the clarity isn't easy, but often where people start to trip up is once they're trying to, manifest that new life with that new clarity, and they start to have all those doubts and fears, and they start to say, oh, wait, maybe that clarity wasn't clarity and I need to go back. And so maybe there's a little bit of that. Do you ever experience that in your
Yes.
own life or working with clients?
Yes, in both. Absolutely. The clarity is the big piece. And then the second piece is about getting free, usually. And the freedom usually comes from those lessons. So once you get your, the faster you get the lesson about whatever you're working on, the faster it goes away. And I find that there's a whole set of, again, tools and techniques about getting free from whatever it is that's holding you back. Because ultimately, we're probably holding ourselves back 99% of the time. And once you let that lesson go, whether it be about speaking your truth, whether it be, and this is I created the 14 shortcuts for happy living. You probably saw them in the book, and then tried to live them. So that really changed my life. And the one that everybody really, it's really funny because all my clients usually bring it back within the first couple of sessions. They'll come back and they say, I'm trying to stay in my own circle. So one of the lessons is that, especially women in particular, because we're kind of natural nurturers, but sometimes men and women, it's very easy to worry about what everybody else is doing. And it's very easy to get very ingrained with family, and not only that, but kids and just what's going on, whether it be a club or a group or work. And it's easy to worry about, what Jane's doing over here, what Bill's doing over there, whether Bobby got up or if he got good grades or whatever's going on. But what it does is it just really deflects you, and you're not really paying any attention to self. So I always like to say, you've got this circle, and I would stretch my arms out, but you're not going to be able to see them anyway. But, about 5 feet around you. And in that circle, that's your entire universe. And when that universe is humming, aligned, and feeling really good, we provide a much bigger gift than worrying about what Bobby or Susie are doing. We provide the gift of having a super high vibration, and it makes you incredibly attractive to other people. People want to spend time with you. And also, you're jiving on the inside. I always say you're wearing your power shoes and you love your life. And so you're attractive, but you're also showing and demonstrating to others that this is possible. And so that's part of it. That's part of the getting free, of understanding that this circle that you're in is your entire little subset. It's your Venn diagram. Love Venn diagrams. Other people actually are not in your Venn diagram. They touch it and they get super close, but they actually don't, your lines actually do not overlap. So when you realize that that's the one thing you have to work on, life becomes a lot easier. And then the last piece to touch on that, where people sometimes get stuck, is what you were talking about, is the whole activation piece. So now I'm clear. Now I'm free. And I always say, you got to get going. Okay, because as much as I want $1 million to be delivered to my doorstep in a paper bag, maybe tomorrow would be nice, right? Next week, whenever. It doesn't work like that. This is the workout place. This is the gym. So this is where we're doing all of our hard work. And in that piece comes your activation. And it's not about what really the results of it. It's about the fact that you have activated, I don't care how many times. And for me, it's been a constant reactivation, because I feel like there's mountains we climb or little hills, and then you get to the top, and then there will be one right behind it that you didn't see. Another thing you have to activate. So how do you stay motivated? How do you stay on track when it doesn't go exactly maybe the way you want it to? I was, at the time when I saw Sonia, I was 190 pounds, and I was pursuing a marketing career. And she said, your job is to become an actor, an author, a teacher, and a healer. And you're not doing any of that. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I loved acting. I've been in performing, the whole high school musical stuff. But now I was hugely overweight. And I'm like, actors are supposed to be thin, right? Usually. Probably talented. Wasn't sure about that one. And then they're supposed to have like a portfolio. Well, I had none of that going on. So I heard her message. I loved acting. I realized I was missing the boat. And so I had to decide at 190 pounds that I was going to go out anyway to my first audition. So I literally strapped myself up, and I was putting on like the corset, and I had like the big flowy dress and the boots on so no one could see that I was grossly overweight. And I showed up anyway. Because Sonia said, you're supposed to be an actor. So I'm like, hey, what you think about, you bring about. So I show up, and I was sitting there at my first audition in 20 years. And I thought, oh my God, what did I just do? So they say, first thing that you don't even realize, this was a musical audition. I don't know what I was thinking, but they're like, sing me a song. I'm like, oh my gosh, it wasn't prepared. Didn't really have a song in mind. I thought I was looking pretty fabulous for myself at the time, but that's about as far as I could go. So I just said, fine, whatever. My hands start shaking. I had to pin them behind my back, and I sang the only thing I could sing at the time, which was a song from a different musical. It was Wouldn't It Be Loverly from My Fair Lady. And out squeaks, it sounded like a cat was being murdered. I mean, that's the only thing, that's how bad it was.
But you were activating. You were really getting out there. Yes. That's
not
good.
Well.
But you were putting yourself out there. So hold that thought, Dianne. We are going to go take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to explore a little bit more about your journey and this part of, having the clarity, and then what does it mean to really get out there and put yourself out there, which in your book, you have some great stories about that. So I want to talk a little bit more about this. You're listening to Masters of Reinvention with Angela Watson Robertson, and this is my guest, Dianne Bischoff James, author of the book, The Real Brass Ring.